Hey, Tiger Todd here for Hero School and Heroes Inc. I do apologize about the wind noise in these live videos, but you know what they say, an object in motion tends to stay in motion unless otherwise acted upon. And so one of the parts of motion is there's going to be a little resistance, at least at the earth level and before breaking that speed of sound. So since I'm going at half the speed of smell on my bicycle, today we're going to talk about balance. You know, I think there's a conflict inside many people on the subject of balance. And am I going to try to balance, you know, my family life, you know, with my work life, with my, you know, big picture dream life, with the time with my friends. But, you know, I think that's external balance. And I think ultimately, it's a human being a more complex creature, we need to consider balance between our three cores, and only one of them is external. And I'm going to put it this way. Let's separate the human being into three categories: into a body, which we have on the outside, which I'm trying to exercise, which is breathing too much for the amount of work I'm doing right now. And then we have a soul, right? The mind, the will, and the emotions. And whereas the body has a brain, the soul has a mind. And as we also know from quantum mechanics that, look, every cell in your body is a thinking cell. So the idea for some people that the mind is part of the brain is, well, it's part of the brain, but it's also part of the arm, and it's also part of the gut, and it's also part of so many other parts of us. So we want to talk about the soul as something also that needs to be in balance, right? Equally exercised, equally nourished. And then finally we have the spirit. And what is that? Now it could be based on your religion, based on your philosophy. The spirit, however, we know it more specifically not by what others say it is, but rather by its strength, its power. We know that the strength or power of the will is willpower. And how do we strengthen that? By resistance. We know that the body's power is strength, and we get that in the gym from resistance. And for the spiritual power to be in balance, that strength and that power is called faith, right? Believing. Using faith the same way that a mechanic uses a tool, the same way that a furniture mover moves a piece of furniture, that we use physical strength. I want to say we want to make sure that all parts of our human are in balance in terms of the strength. But gosh, we might see somebody who is Herculean or Amazonian on the outside. Oh, they talk like this, but no, they talk like Wonder Woman. But on the inside, if we were able to see through them, and my best viewpoint for that is, sorry, neighbors are too fun. The best viewpoint for that one comes from the movie Doctor Strange. If you recall, the ancient one, right? The true master of what spirituality, I think that was the soul that she was able to shove out of Doctor Strange's body for him to recognize he was more than just one homogeneous being. And so then she started to teach these different strengths, these different powers, which you could say touched on spirit, but they had greater power to move mountains. And anyway, so back to this balance. You know, what do we do? The first thing I think is we have the awareness that balance includes all three things. And if you were to look through a person, the last thing you want to do is see a soul or a spirit that are just stick figures, right? Or someone that's just all intellectual, right? If we were just to look at the personification of Wikipedia, it would be clearly a stick figure with a pumpkin head, right? That's no good, right? So if we start to look at ourselves and make sure that our souls and our spirits are not emaciated, they haven't been neglected, whether we've worked out our bodies or not, I'm going to say that we take a look, have the awareness that those exist. We take a look and find out what we can do to exercise those. Obviously, there's resistance of will, the resistance of things. You know, we call it willpower, but there was a great one of those little vignettes, little cartoons I saw in a newspaper. Get this, how long ago? When Reagan was president. And Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House. And I remember the way this thing, he says, you know, Tip O'Neill says, well, what we need to get this economy back on track is some willpower. And he looked at Tip O'Neill and he says, what we need is some woke power. And I'm going to venture to say that's pretty accurate, that we actually grow our will, not by what we make ourselves do, but also by what we resist doing that we could, but that doesn't align with our future. our identity, who we want to be, what we must be. And so the same is true, obviously, with the body. We have to push ourselves beyond those limits. And I love the quote from Henry E.N. Gray: the successful person has the habit of doing the things that failures don't want to do. So most of these strengths come this way, but finally, the spirit. You've got to have time to grow that spirit. And from everything I've read, that if the spirit force is faith, I think Paul's letter to the church at Rome said that faith comes by hearing and hearing. And so maybe do this. Maybe have a time during each day, maybe first thing in the morning, if you want to kind of grow and buff up your spirit. And all it is it's not reading, it's hearing. Now you could read out loud so you hear it, but there must be a strength or a power in that. And so I'm going to recommend this. I'm going to recommend finding a YouTube video of some Psalms or something that's in line with your religion or your spiritual discipline. And I'm going to have you play that over and over again until it gets in you and you start to grow that inner spirit and start to turn on the power to move mountains again, not just furniture. Okay, it's Tiger Todd with Hero School and Heroes Inc. saying we believe in heroes and we believe in you. Hey Hero, Tiger Todd here for Hero School, and I'm just so grateful you had a chance to watch this latest video. Make sure you click subscribe so you're always getting the latest videos from Hero School and Heroes Inc. automatically. And we'd love to see your comments below and some insight that you might have. What is it Emerson said? Everyone's my superior in some way, in that I learn from him or her. And we'd love to hear your insight, what you've read, and your view of the world. So see you soon, and remember, we believe in heroes, we believe in you.